6 foot.
Wow.
Okay, all right.
And that's why, this has soffits too, but the lowest one was 7'3".
Oh, wow, so that's all
This is
custom.
about,
Yeah, everything's
this is
custom.
about 6'7", something
Right.
like that.
Yeah,
How
that's
tall
about
are you?
what I am, 6'7".
6'7"?
Oh, you
Yeah.
just make it,
Well,
Robert.
they added carpet, I guess, here as a padding, so.
Yeah, and your shoes.
My shoes here.
Anyway, carpeting don't, that was done in about 1987.
Mhm.
That house.
How many residential projects do you have in the area, Lauderdale?
I don't know. No idea, Lauderdale. I think a total of all the residences was, 50 or 60, something like that.
Huh?
I know I just passed Project 500
Wow.
a couple of years ago.
Wow.
I'm still working up in Cashiers, North Carolina.
Okay. Your offices are there now?
Remodeled my barn.
Mhm.
Just finished a new website that you can find all this stuff because there's
Cool.
160 projects on it.
Wow.
It's really not a sales tool; it's an archive.
We love it. We love it.
That's right, yeah.
So when are you
It's got-
getting?
It's got probably 50 unfinished projects, things that unbuilt projects,
Wow.
and a couple, maybe 36, because they're 18 on a page, so you can click on them and pull up the individuals of hospitality.
So
For 20 years, we did restaurants and bars.
and you did Sea-Watch, didn't you?
Yeah, it's the only,
What?
probably the most, had the best longevity of all of them, the Sea-Watch, but they ruined it. Just, the owner made it no longer look like a Sea-Watch.
I know.
All the decors,
Right.
Hollywood actors,
Right.
Clark Gable and
When did you build that one? What was
74.
74? And the owners at that time, what was their
Same
vision?
owners.
Same owners.
We remodeled it several times. I've added a party room on the north end
Mm-hmm.
back 20 years ago, probably 91, I think.
Okay.
They took all the pictures off the walls. You had old whaling pictures and boat pictures, and it's no longer nautical. There's nothing in there nautical.
Nautical at all? Yeah, it's kind
And they
of.
painted the raw cedar,
Oh my goodness.
and then they faked wood grain on it.
Where did you get?
Don't go.
Why bother? Yeah.
Where did you get the original material? Where did you import the wood and
No, it's cedar boards.
cedar boards?
Cedar boards, budded boards. Wasn't totally groove or anything, just budded boards.
Did you have free reign over the design, or did they?
Yeah, it was supposed to look like an old sea captain's house. It thought back
It's
all
great.
the stuff from all over the world. We had oars on the ceilings, and there's a place in Miami called Stone Age Antiques.
Okay.
That was just all nautical antiques down by the airport,
Wow.
and you could get anything. You want oars? They'd have 200 or 300 oars.
Wow.
Ship's wheels, 50, 60, whatever, and we had old lobster traps and had a diving suit hanging, an
All
old-timey
that.
diving suit hanging up.
Cool. So which was your desk here? Which was your desk in this studio?
Oh, back there in the back.
Hello.
I'm here to pick up some more boxes for Frank.
I'm not sure, but if you know where they are, I can get them. Show me which was your.
Like originally, I sat here.
This was your desk.
Yeah, that was way back, But you look at the website, it's got all the original photographs done by Wade Swycourt.
Wow.
All the old ones.
Okay.
So there's pictures of the inside, and that room there had a door that I decorated that I had in my.
I would have thought this would be your office, this beautiful
No, this is
space.
the conference room. This originally I just got a door, polycord door, and put some little trim around it. Had a leg on it. I had folding card table chairs here. This was just.
You didn't do
This
these.
building was built for
For work.
$9.10 a square foot. So this was I did all the interior cabinets myself. I just got a little. I got a little table saw. Sat on a horse in the middle of the floor over there.
And just ripped
I
boards.
built, like for instance, I did these light fixtures.
Yeah.
Wow.
Two of them here. Alberto painted them red. But I don't even think I just a rough sketch, and I kind of
Like a
built
Cherokee
them
red.
on the table, so
Wow.
I made the pieces, put them together.
Nice.
I had bare light bulbs on the ceilings.
You were the original Renaissance man.
Well, yes, I was only 29 when I moved in here in June.
29.
1962.
Was this your first? Was this your first project of this
Oh, no.
year? No,
I started in 59.
59.
June 59, I was 60, 61. 3 years later, I moved in here.
Okay.
I thought that's what you're supposed to do when you got out of school. You were supposed to work for a little while and then start your own business and build your
Right.
own building. And
Right, all that. So we're
none of my architect friends were doing that.
where did you study again?
Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio. That's right.
It was this close to Dayton, where I lived,
And-
40 miles from Dayton. And I never explored their architectural school. I knew they had one, but I knew they had a great track team, and that's why I
There you go. You look like you could have done track in your day.
And,
Join any
but
fraternities?
they weren't even, found out after I got in there, weren't even accredited.
Oh,
We
wow.
didn't get accredited until my 4th year. And a 5-year college, if it's not accredited, does not entitle you to take the state board exams.
Oh, okay. But you're
5-year bachelor degree can you get a master's or a 5-year bachelor's.
Did you and were you influenced at all by what was going on in Chicago at the time, or were you aware of what was happening with modern and right
Well,
and all of that?
At Miami, my professors at Miami were displaced Bauhaus guys that escaped, Jews that escaped
Wow.
Germany
Wow.
and had dispersed throughout the country, and they always wore their tweed coats and their watch fobs and smoked pipes, and they looked like Walter Gropius.
But Gropius stayed on the east, and some guys came out to
Well,
Ohio.
Yeah. 2 of them, I think. And they'd stand at your drawing board and drop ashes all over, and they use a big black grease pencil, and they'd sketch, and they'd pull out this sketch and pull it out, and there'd be a pile of paper on the floor. So
And that-
I didn't go to those, what they call lab classes,
Sure,
when you could get critiques.
sure. You didn't want to get critiqued.
I didn't want to get critiqued by those guys. So nobody saw my projects till they were finished. I usually did them in the room.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember
My
who?
roommate, was an architect too.
Do you remember the name of the guys from Bauhaus?
Rudolph Wirtz?
Wirtz?
Firth.
Firth.
One of them was Firth. No, that's the only one I can remember.
1 out of 2 ain't bad. That's pretty good.
Do you ever drive over to Cranbrook and hang out with those
I
guys?
didn't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about architecture. I just stayed away from the lab, which was had been Army barracks during the war, and they were just old wood buildings, and they were built up off the floor, with wood joists, and squeaked, and
Sure. The old
people
Army
when
barracks,
somebody
yeah.
walked through.
And how did you end up down here in Fort Lauderdale?
Spring break,
Spring break. You are the original spring break.
5th year, my girlfriend and another architectural student friend and his girlfriend drove down here in my 49 Packard.
Wow. From
Packard.
Miami, from University of Miami in Ohio.
for spring break, and we stayed at what's called the Amber Tides, which is right at the end of Oakland Park Boulevard, because everything down the beach was already full.
Okay.
But there was not enough room for all of them, so I grabbed a blanket and walked down to the beach, which was just a couple short blocks, and found a boat tilted up against a tree,
It's great.
and I got in behind the boat, slept well, and
Lean to.
not too many years later, I did put an addition on that house. It's
Oh,
a
wow.
Dr. Dickey,
Dr. Dickey.
and I put an addition over his carporter garage.
Did you tell him the story?
Probably did, yeah, sure. I know this house. Yeah, I slept in out.
I've slept here before.
Behind your boat.
So do you remember the whole Birch Estates, all those little hotel, motel, motorhomes? That was, you just stuck to the
We
beach
didn't,
and,
we had a young group that we kind of met. I knew one, somebody who was my aunt's best friend lives here. She was the principal of Pinecrest School forever. Pinecrest
Wow,
is
sure.
down off of Broward, on the
Right.
right in that area. And her son was about my age.
mm-hmm,
So my aunt said, and my aunt gave me a copy of a Florida architecture magazine.
okay, right at the
And
time.
it had Bob Hansen's Roundhouse on it. It was off of,
Oh.
on the intercoastal, someplace off of the Isles.
Okay,
He's the first guy I went to interview.
mm-hmm,
And I went to a couple others that I don't care anymore. There were 13 architects in the phone booth.
wow,
The phone book, and I'll try this one and that one, and this one's this one's close, and I could just back and forth. So somebody offered me more money than Hanson, but I liked Hanson's office, so I went to work for him. $85 a week,
those were the days, right?
and I worked for him for 2.5 years. The last year was in Pompano. He had a branch office called Hanson and Romano.
Mm-hmm,
So I worked for Joe Romano for a year. And during that time, I'd passed my state board. Because I thought it was what you were supposed to do.
Right, back then.
And found this property through a friend, Harry Bordemeyer, who used to have a real estate business on the
Bordemeyer,
corner
yes.
over here. They're still over there. One of his brothers does property management. He's upstairs over the
Right.
eyeglass place, optical
mm-hmm,
place. So he found this property was the back of the corner piece.
before the funeral home was there?
Oh yeah, way before 1961.
Okay,
And so, well, I think I can convince them that the back part's not very valuable. So I bought the back 55 feet for $6,750.
wow. And how long did it take you to build the studio
Moved in
here?
in June. That
June.
was about at the end of the year, end of '61. I moved in June '62.
And your family? I mean, you raised a family here, or?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
'62, I had 2 children, 2 boys by that time. Lived in Wilton Manor.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and forth because I had an office just north of Oakland Park on A1A, upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
over Howard Men's Store,
Yep.
in the back overlooking the alley
Nice.
for $50 a month.
And did you hang out with any of the architects of the time? You know, McKieran and
No, I
No.
never knew McCurrihan, but
McCurrihan.
An architect named Chet Trowbridge had worked for McCurrihan.
okay.
Chet had the adjoining office, where there was a door in between.
Oh.
So we answered telephones for each other.
Cool.
And he was working on additions to the Maikai. He did the gift store, which is to the north of
Okay.
the main building.
Okay.
Because he apparently worked on the original Maikai when he worked for McCurrihan.
Okay.
And then he was killed in a plane crash. So Ed Stone, landscape architect,
Mm-hmm.
was doing my first house.
Wow.
And after Chet was killed, the space was vacant. I said, he was looking for an office. He was in his garage
Wow.
at his house. I says, why don't you get this office right next to me here, because it's just at $50 a month and we can answer the telephone for each other, which he did.
That's
So Ed Stone Jr. was my next door neighbor,
Cool.
and I used to listen to him talking to his father.
Yeah, sure.
He called him father, never called him dad.
E.D.
Yeah.
Stone. Yeah.
And it was always sir, too. Father and sir.
Now, were you here when the Chateau Madrid was built
Mhm.
on the
I
corner?
was there opening night
Wow.
in my shorts and sandals.
Wow.
Like I didn't have long pants in those days.
Very casual.
Yeah.
You watched that go up, and
It was in construction, I think, when I built this,
okay,
but it opened, I think, in '63.
and you were there.
How many, 91, 30-some years later, I would remodel it.
Wow. Okay. Well, we make sure you're attributed
So
to.
I just finished writing the text for my new website.
Okay.
I had 160 projects on it, and the images were there a year ago, but I was too busy, working on the latest project was a rec center for Cashers, where I live.
Ah, okay.
5,000 square foot rec center. And it was,
Wow.
So then this winter, I kind of said, I'm going to finish the text. So I wrote the text, and it's all on the website now for the 160 projects. And that sort of gave me a walk back
In time.
in
Do you
time.
have a lot of the source material for those projects? Original.
Everything.
You have everything.
I got everything. I got all the job files. I've got.
Well, when are we getting you to the Getty? When are we getting you to the Getty Foundation?
Getty?
The Getty, who just who archived all of Julius Schumann's films and.
Oh, I don't have a lot of great photographs because
Should be earned about